Good morning. I'm so happy that you're here. I don't have the lights on like I usually do. This is just a little bit more of a deconstructed morning. I figured we could have coffee together. This is our little coffee chat. So thank you for being here. And I want to let you know that every time you open a video or open an email or a reel from me, that is so special. It is really important to have the conversations we're having around tough times. And when you show up, when you're here with me, it means so much to me personally, because we can share in this space together. And I know that, as I say often, life gets hard in a lot of ways, but I also want to just take a moment to enjoy the small, lovely moments of life. And that's why today's just like a little coffee talk. It's a short conversation. I really wish it was a two-way conversation. So please always write me back or leave messages or DMs or whatever, comments, because I love the discussion. And a lot of times, what I'm talking about here is based on conversations I'm having out in the real world with real people, some of you. And so I think today is a nice moment to just stop and take stock of, the good and the bad of the week. Just do a little recap for yourself. And so I'm thinking, if I say, what was the best part of your week? Like, really think what is coming to mind and honor that and just cherish it for just like a second so that that doesn't slip away. And then maybe call to mind something that was hard and trying or stressful or disappointing this week. And hold that in and think about why that was hard, or what you've learned from it, or how you can get past it, or if you're already past it, give yourself a big old pat on the back. um, it's hard, and but we're here. It's Friday, and it's just a really nice way. I think some people do the thorns and roses. I've never done that, so I'm also maybe quoting that incorrectly. But like at the dinner table, I know friends with kids ask, what was the highlight of your day? What was the low point of your day? And I'm starting to work that in, even though my daughter's only 2. I think it's nice for my husband and I, because as you guys know, things have been hard. And it's like we have to acknowledge what's not working or what's not great. That can't just get swept under the rug, because then we're never going to work through that, or it gives it a little bit more power. And that's something I love talking about, as you know, is talking about the power of fear and how we can dismantle it and take that power away and sort of reclaim it as our own power. I definitely have multiple Substack articles about that, but it comes down to that simple practice of identifying something that is a fear, that thing we want to move away from, that thing we don't want pervasive in our life, the thing we do not want to deal with. It can be as simple as, paying bills, a big bill we don't want to deal with, or a credit card balance that seems out of control. It could be, applying for a job we don't feel qualified for. It could be showing up for a social engagement that gives us anxiety, whatever. I mean, and a billion other things. But whatever it is, there's a fear that is not the actual reality. And that fear needs to be pulled out into the light. It needs to be addressed, given a name. I like not just to use this as a meditation, I like to write things down, especially when I'm in like what I call a fear spiral or up all night with anxiety. So, because that takes the power out of it just running around in your mind, and it brings it into a real confined, defined space, and you give it a name and you write it down, and that is then separate from you. So remember, pulling the fears out, getting them out of the hamster wheel of your mind is so important. And then you can give yourself a little bit more space. But then if you want to do, so that's the writing down technique. But if you want to do the sort of meditation, guided meditation technique that I use a lot with people is, and myself, it started right here. Um, it is thinking through what is my fear and giving it a name, identifying it clearly. What is my fear right now? And then letting that identify it, but let it sit on the side. And then instead, once you've freed that fear that is usually like right here and is all you can see, then bringing to mind, okay, well, if that was what the fear was, then what is the truth? What is my truth? What is the truth behind the fear? And it's always there. It's just being blocked at that time. And so you can bring it in and feel it, because the truth is always better. The real thing that is true in your life is so much better than the fear you think it is. The fear is a masquerade. It's masking that truth that you need to see and hear. And so it's such an important exercise to call out fears, big or small. I love doing this with like small little itty bitty things, because you know what? If you don't deal with them when they're small, they just get bigger. What is my fear? Hearing it, laughing at it even, setting it to the side. Then asking, what is my truth? Hearing it, hearing how beautiful and pure that is, whatever it is for your life. And then just asking, what is the one thing I can do in line with this truth? If whatever we were worried about seemed so bad, but we realized that was sort of a fake story we were telling ourselves, and that the truth is simple and it's just very elemental and it's so natural to who we are, then do that one thing that is in line with that better version of yourself that you're now listening to, because that's how we become a better version of ourselves. So I'm glad we could sit down. Clearly, it is morning time. This is my actual coffee. I have gunk in my throat from allergies. So, hope you enjoy this sort of like unfiltered, just little bit more real, more basic, just time with each other. And I really appreciate you being here. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful just time to yourself, however you spend it, and hope that you honor the spirit within.